Good day, everyone. My name is Neil. I am a voice and accent communication coach. I have coached multiple peoples in corporate programs and also helped them in IELTS. So today we are going to talk on a very small topic that which might be very useful and practical for us. We all have heard about it, but let's understand what it is. An idiom. What is an idiom? If I go in the technical version or technical definition of an idiom, it's an expression in the usage of a language that is peculiar to itself, either in having a meaning that cannot be derived from the conjoined meanings of its elements, or it's grammatically a typical use of words. Sounds difficult? I know. In Hindi, what we call idiom is muhavre, something we use in a day-to-day language. This is what we use to express ourselves, to express our feelings, our emotion, or to express a situation. Now, it is not absolutely necessary to use idioms when you speak, but having idioms or the usage of idioms gives richness to your language. You sound more confident. And now, the trick with idioms is idioms differ from places to places. Let's take a look at the Hindi language. There are certain kinds of idioms used in the northern part of India, certain kinds of idioms used in Uttar Pradesh, certain kind of idioms used in Delhi, Punjab, and other places. So as per the geographical region, the idioms that we use keep changing. So it is not possible for us to understand all the idioms, but it's good to know the most commonly used idioms. When we talk about the English language, we know that English is spoken in major countries like United States of America. It's also spoken in the United Kingdom, in Australia, certain parts of Europe. So the idioms will keep changing. So what we are focusing on is a large group of idioms which are commonly used all across. Once again, our idea is not to master all the idioms, but to have a fair knowledge of the most commonly used idioms that we can use in a day-to-day life, or someone else, when they use it, we are able to understand what it is. Let's take a quick look. I will quickly share my screen. Hope you all can see my screen. So I'm looking, I'll go ahead and share some very common idioms that we normally use in a day-to-day life. These are things which we can use in a corporate profile. We can also use it when we are talking to people. Some of them are a little casual in nature. Some of them can be used in corporates and business, in which you might be able to describe yourself or describe a person when you're talking or discussing about something. So this can really help you in understanding how we speak generally. Now, of course, the most important part of speaking any language or speaking English language, that's what we're discussing, would be the use of correct pronunciation or tenses. It needs to be in proper order. We need to have vocabulary. We need to have fluency, and we need to go ahead and speak confidently. But this is something would be a good touch to our communication, understanding idioms. Let's take a look. We have two very common idioms that we use. One is a tough cookie. Now, if you remember what I said about idioms, it does not exactly mean what the word says. What is a cookie? A cookie is kind of a biscuit, a sweetened biscuit that we have with milk or with tea. So when we say a tough cookie, we're not talking exactly about a biscuit. We're actually talking about a human being. A tough cookie, as the name sounds, would be someone who is a little difficult in nature. So that person can be described as a tough cookie. Sorry. These are the idioms that we are covering today, would be the ones describing people. Okay. The next idiom which we have on our hand is big cheese. Big cheese would ideally mean someone important. Let's look at the next slide to understand a few more of them. We have a couple of idioms. Let's try and match the ones on the left with the ones on the right. Okay, so the options that we have on the left are big cheese, black sheep, tough cookie, whistleblower, Airhead. Now, whistleblower is one idiom. If you have been following the news, you might be reading it a lot of times. Let's understand what these are. The options that we have on the right are an important person, a person who reveals a wrongdoing to the public, a person who can endure physical or mental hardship, a stupid and a silly person, a member of family or group that shames them. Take a minute to figure out which ones would match on the left with the ones on the right. Okay, let's look at the first one. Big cheese. As I discussed before, it would mean someone who is important. So if we look, it says an important person. Next, black sheep. Now, black sheep would mean a member of a family or a group that shames them. Now, to describe what black sheep would mean, that in certain ways it's derogatory, but it's the way, but we're not going into that. We're trying to understand what the meaning of it. So if you are part of a group, or if you're part of your family and you are a little different from your family, your ideology is different from your family or your group, some people might call you as a black sheep. It's something, once again, as I said, is a derogatory term. All we're trying to do is understand if someone calls a person as a black sheep, that typically means that person is a little different, a different set of ideas, thoughts, behavior than the other group of people or the large group of people they're associated with. Moving on, tough cookie. A tough cookie would mean a person who can endure physical and mental hardship. Someone who is a rough and tough can be called a tough cookie. So when we talk about our army people, we could call them a tough cookie because they are trained to be physically and mentally tough. You know, they can endure a lot of hardship. So that is tough cookie. Next, whistleblower. If you are in a corporate job, you would hear a lot about whistleblower or whistleblower policy. What is it? A person who reveals a simply means if you are someone who is noticing something incorrect, illegal, or unethical going around, and you are going ahead and releasing that information so that some action can be taken, it's called a whistleblower. So as once again, most companies would have a whistleblower policy. Next time you hear this word whistleblower, you now know what it is. Last, airhead. Someone who is a stupid and a silly person, someone who talks things which does not make sense. Normally, we call them an airhead. Once again, it's not good to call someone an airhead or a black sheep. However, if these words are used, our idea is to understand what it means. Moving on, answer this question. Okay, take some time and answer these questions. First question, are you the big cheese at your job? If not, do you get along with the big cheese? Okay, so let me answer this question for you. Are you the big cheese at your job? No, I'm not. If not, do you get along with the big cheese? Of course I do. If you perform well, you get along with someone important in your organization or your community. So these are questions you can answer to practice your speech. This is an example. I would like you to take a couple of minutes to practice the speech. Moving on, are there any black sheep in your family? Once again, we're not trying to derogate someone, we're just trying to understand and enhance our communication. So you can talk a couple of minutes on if there is anyone on your family whose ideology differs from what you are. So are you the black sheep? Are there any black sheep in your family? Okay. Next, are you a tough cookie or are you a sensitive person? Again, it's your personal choice. This is just to enhance your communication. Take a minute to answer, are you a tough cookie or are you a sensitive person? If you think you're a tough cookie, give reasons, speak about it. So you can speak a few lines and that enhances your communication. Do you know anyone who is an airhead? If you know someone, you can talk about that person who you think is an airhead. Moving on. Once again, we would look into some words on the left and try to match them with the word on the right. Okay, the first word that we see is gold digger. Now, we do see a lot of videos on Instagram, on Facebook, and other social media about gold diggers. Today, we will understand what exactly a gold digger means. Next, pain in the neck. Go-getter, know-it-all, social butterfly. Once again, these are words like we saw previously used to describe human beings. Moving back to the slide, again, cheese, black sheep, tough cookie, whistleblower, airhead. These all idioms are used to go ahead and describe human beings. Let's try and find out which ones would match. Okay, the options that we have on the right are someone who has a relationship with someone else in an attempt to get his or money. A person who is very ambitious. A person who thinks he, she knows everything. Someone who is friendly with people and enjoys spending time with groups of people. Someone who is very annoying. Okay, let's look at the first option, gold digger. A gold digger would normally mean someone who has a relationship with someone else in an attempt to get his or her money. As I mentioned, we would see a lot of these videos on Instagram and social media. The next time you hear someone being called a gold digger, once again, it's not good to call someone a good digger. It's a derogatory term. But if you hear that word, now you know what it means. Someone who has a relationship with someone else in an attempt to get his or her money. Pain in the neck. Now, a pain in the neck would be someone who is very annoying. That person can be described as pain in the neck. Go-getter. Go-getter would be someone, a person who is very ambitious, who can go ahead and get things done, would be called as a go-getter. Know-it-all. A know-it-all, again, is a derogatory term, which would be used for a person who thinks he, she knows everything. Social butterfly. We all have social butterflies in a group. Everyone, someone who is friendly with everyone and enjoys spending time with groups of people. So I'm sure we all have social butterflies in a group. Now, answer a question. Are you the social butterfly in your group? If not, who is it? And describe that person. Okay. Once coming back to the questions. Do you know anyone who is pain in the neck? If you know, speak about it for a minute. Are you a social butterfly? If you are, speak about it for a minute. Are you a go-getter? If you are, once again, speak about it for a minute. Okay, can you match the idioms to this picture? Let's have a look at the pictures and see if we can match. The first one, we see a man in a suit with a background in which someone is showing their biceps. The next, we see a family photo in which everyone is dressed in business wear, and there is one kid who is dressed in a different attire. The next would be someone who is wearing a sweatshirt, wearing sunglasses, and looks a bit tough. Okay, if I have to match these pictures with the options below, which are big cheese, tough cookie, and black sheep, what I would do is I would match A with big cheese. Looking at the picture, I can guess this person is somewhat important. Next, black sheep. I would match it with picture B because I can see everyone dressed in a certain attire and only one kid who is dressed differently. C, tough cookie. By looking at the man in the picture C, I can guess this man is a tough cookie. Moving on. Can you match the idiom to this picture? Social butterfly, know-it-all. Okay. Now, picture A, denotes someone who is raising his hand, someone who is trying to say that I know it. So A would match with know-it-all. We have only one option left, and also it matches with the picture. Someone who is a social butterfly would always smile, be chirpy, be energetic, and mix around with everyone. Okay. moving on to set number 3. Again, we'll match the words on the left with the ones on the right. Number 1, party pooper, jack of all trades, party animal, average Joe, plain Jane. Okay, let's look at the options on the right. A person who can do many different things but doesn't excel at any. A person who ruins a fun activity by not participating. A normal everyday guy. A girl with an average appearance, not very pretty. Someone who enjoys going to parties. Okay, now let's try and match the ones on the left with the ones on the right. Okay, party pooper. Okay, it would normally mean a person who ruins a fun activity by not participating. Jack of all trades. A person who can do many different things but doesn't excel at any. Party animal. Someone who enjoys going to parties. This is something we hear quite often. Average Joe. Now, Joe would normally mean the name of a man, and Jane would be the name of a female or a girl. So average Joe would be someone who is very normal or regular. So an average Joe is a normal everyday guy. Plain Jane. Plain Jane would be a girl with average appearance, not very pretty. So when we describe someone, it's called plain Jane. Once again, I'm not asking anyone to use these to describe other human beings. This is just to enhance our language, and if someone uses this for someone, we know what it is. Okay, we're moving on to the next slide, in which we have a few other set of words. The words on the left are yes man, dark horse, sharp cookie. We read about tough cookie. Let's know what sharp cookie is. Copycat, bookworm. I'm sure we have heard about this word before. Let's try and understand what it is. The options on the right are a person who loves to read, someone who has something to imitate another person, a person who is intelligent and not easily fooled, a person who is secretive, little is known about him or her, a person who agrees with everything that someone says. Okay, first option, yes man. If you are in the corporate world, you might have heard about it. Yes man would mean a person who agrees with everything that someone says. Dark horse. Dark horse would mean a person who is secretive. Little is known about him or her. We all who work in jobs know about that team member who does not share anything. So we can describe that person as a dark horse. Sharp cookie. A person who is intelligent and not easily fooled. We all know someone who is a sharp cookie. Copycat. Of course, this is one of the most commonly used idioms. A copycat would mean something or someone who does something to imitate another person. Bookworm. In our school days, we always had someone who was a bookworm, a person who loves to read. Okay. Let's take a moment to ask some questions to ourselves. Are you a bookworm? Who is the yes man at your office? Do you think you are a sharp cookie? Can you match the idiom to this picture? Looking at the picture A, I would say picture A is the bookworm, and picture B, it's a party animal. Okay. Moving on to the next one. Pick an idiom to describe pick an idiom to describe each of these people. Okay. Gold digger, jack of all trades, sharp cookie, dark horse, yes man. Let's try and test ourselves. Thomas always does what his boss asked him to do. So Thomas would be a yes man because he always says yes to his boss. Maria is a very private person. She always leaves without telling anyone where she is going. So Maria would be a dark horse. Robert is very intelligent. It's not easy to deceive him. So Robert would be a sharp cookie. Dan is able to do everything, but he's not an expert at anything. So Dan is a jack of all trades. Leon only dates rich women because he wants them to buy expensive things for him. So Leon, in this case, would be a gold digger. Nicole has short brown hair and brown eyes. She is average height and reminds me of my sister. So Nicole would be a plain Jane. Peter found out that his company was stealing money from the government and decided to tell the media. So Peter would be a whistleblower. James isn't very smart. His classmates always laugh at his silly comments. So in this case, James would be an airhead. Max is very different from the rest of his family. They are ashamed of it. Max would be a black sheep. Michelle is an overachiever. When she wants something, she goes after it. So Michelle is a go-getter. Can you complete the idiom? A person who is very secretive is known as a dark horse. A normal guy can be called an average Joe. A big cheese is a very important person. A person with thick skin who isn't easily offended by others can be called a tough cookie. A person who is constantly annoying others is a pain in the neck. A person who is very friendly and loves being surrounded by and chatting with people is a social butterfly. Okay. We can use expressions with animals to describe people. So we all use that. So let's understand a few animal expressions that we use to describe human beings. Okay. Wise as an owl. So when we say someone is wise as an owl, that person we normally refer to as being very intelligent. Sly as a fox. Quiet as a mouse. Strong as an ox. Hungry as a wolf. So these are few of the animal idioms that we use to describe people. Wise as an owl, sly as a fox, quiet as a mouse, strong as an ox, hungry as a wolf. Okay. Next, let's understand few other animal idioms that we can use to describe people. Okay. Sick as a dog, slow as a snail, busy as a bee, gentle as a lamb, free as a bird. I'm sure we have heard about these two idioms, busy as a bee or free as a bird. So these are a few other idioms that we can use. Once again, I'll repeat them. Sick as a dog, slow as a snail, busy as a bee, gentle as a lamb, free as a bird. Okay. Now it's time to ask a question. Can you describe your family members, friends, or colleagues using idioms? If yes, please speak on it for a few minutes. My grandfather is as wise as an owl. I always go to him when I need advice. So this is one example. Hope, friends, you liked this session on idioms, and I hope this would not only help you understand few of the common idioms used at your workplace or your friends, but you would also be able to use them to enhance your language. And when you use these idioms correctly, you would sound more confident And if you sound more confident, people will find you more knowledgeable, and that should improve your reputation, or that should help you grow in the organization that you're working or the job you're doing. So once again, friends, this is Neil. I am your online voice and communication coach signing off. Wish you have a good day.